So it's my great joy to present this next speaker. I'm just going to say you're a good friend of mine now by this stage. Yeah, Djai. He was here last year, and that was the first time I met him. And what a beautiful man, what a beautiful being. And I have a few words to describe him. These are words that he said that I could use. I have permission to say that he's a plasma scientist and also a quantum osteopath and also a cosmic comedian. I'm sure some of you have seen a little bit of these words, these roles, these ways in which he's navigating life in live as you've encountered him here. It's just my great pleasure to introduce you, Djai, to Pranic World Festival. I'm so happy that you're speaking today. I'm really, it's a great pleasure for me to be here introducing you. So thank you. I want everyone to know also, if you have questions, please reserve them for the end. We're going to have a Q&A at the end. And thank you, Djai.
Yeah, so I'm the mystery guest on the list. Only question marks on this spot. So we're not sure if we're gonna make jokes tonight, or do something serious. But so my name is Djai. I'm now a level 3 pranic living breatharian. 1.5 years ago, I started my process here with Nicholas. And what do I actually do? So plasma, right? I'm going to talk all about plasma tonight. And this is a substance that is quite new to most of you. But when I talk about it, you will recognize it. Like, aha, this should make sense. Huh? But before I started to do my pranic living course, it was actually thanks to plasma that got me here. So if Morgane just first shows my first 2 slides, we have them parked there for you on the projection screen. What is plasma? Okay. If you look into nature, you find plasma with these typical pictures coming right through. It's in the sunset that we all see. The sun itself is a plasma. And also when you have the northern lights, the aurora borealis, it is a plasma. And you see different colors. And you probably also had that bulb, light bulb of a plasma that you could buy and you could put your hands on it and the plasma would find your hand. Also plasma, different. But when you go to the next slide, you want to work with the activated plasma that brings the secret to life. And who knows Nikola Tesla? Okay, so this guy was all about looking for this secret behind life to find plasma actually and to activate it. So when Nikola Tesla invented the first plasma lights, he noticed that he needed to sleep less, eat less, he had a higher performance, he felt better. That's why he could produce so much work. It's all thanks to plasma. So we're talking about something unique, which I believe is going to be the future, technological wise. A device, a technology that can recharge our cells. But I want to make a link today to pranic living, that we are plasma activated beings. And it is thanks to plasma that we are able to live of life force. Okay? Because we're having a little problem here, or I had. I was doing this pranic living, I was talking to all these breatharians. They did it for years. And I had this one question. So what is plasma? And they couldn't tell me anything about it. Like, huh? But let me tell this, 99% of the universe is plasma. So I'm talking about the space in between the atoms, okay? Not the atom, not the cell, what is in it, but the bath, where it is bathing in, where it is residing in. Does that make sense? The environment, okay. Because this is in a plasma state, everything. And this is the human battery, you could say. And it is intelligent. It is self-organizing. And it was there before you were born and before we all existed. It is the beginning of the creation, and it is the fruit of the creation. And so now comes the question, right? It's like, hey, but prana is everywhere. Plasma also, are they the same? No. Or at least I had to ask that question over and over again. But if you study phenomenology, you study prana, how it is described over the thousands of years, and you study plasma, how it behaves observationally. Because you can see plasma, but you cannot measure it. So this is where science is like, no, we're not going to look at it. It's a mystery to them what it actually is. And you know science, right? When you can't measure it, they leave it. So plasma is more like a water quality of a bioenergetic phenomena. Prana is more of an air quality of a bioenergetic phenomena. So if you look at pranic living from plasma and from prana, it's a different show. And it starts with this. When you listen to prana, about pranic living, you hear a lot of people talking about coming to a point of freedom of food, dry fasting, no water, no food, you can still survive, correct? Freedom, okay. Plasma is just stay liquid and you can build the potential of becoming more a pranic person. So it's a different existential question here. And so it's a different way of looking at it. And this still keeps a lot of the mysteries and the things we don't know today. And I know I am the only one doing what I'm doing because I am a quantum osteopath. That means I started as an osteopath, but I invented my own method because I treat people and I analyze people based on their plasma force fields. So in the eyes of plasma, chakras do not exist and we do not have an aura. But in the eyes of plasma, we are water beings and we are created out of the water. So in the eyes of plasma, you stay with what you are made out of and the air around you can raise you into a new creation. That was way too fake. Sorry, forget it. But these are self-organizing fields that decide how healthy you are and how your information field is organized. If your plasma fields are working coherently, then you will build up vitality. And the goal of plasma is actually one thing, is to keep you close to the state of a child. So this is how I look at pranic people, and that's it. I don't look how long they have been dry fasting. I only look at how vital and joyous they are, like a child looking into the world. And you don't have to be prana for that, huh? You can also just be eating. But pranic living can create that potential. Does that make sense? Okay. In the eyes of plasma, the three main things that decide your life quality and your pranic living potential is first, the light spectrum, the bioenergetic light spectrum that you're able to increase in yourself. Simply, we know the difference between light and dark. Your cells know that too. There is a higher spectrum of light available that gives you this clarity. That's the first aspect of plasma. The second aspect is what you call the cosmic spark, the divine spark. It gives you this sense of joy, of happiness without a reason. It is something, the origin of this spark is not known where, but it happens in your cells, in your mitochondria. The moment they, excrete their ATP cellular units for energy. There's a single spark that happens in an ultraviolet light spectrum there. So this is science. The third aspect of plasma looking at pranic living is increasing your bioavailability. That your cells are becoming more acceptable, right? For life force energy. And you don't need to be prana for that, but so many people are dealing with malabsorption these days, right? And this is the summary of how plasma would look at pranic living, basically. But how to categorize these two, right? Because sometimes they sound the same. But plasma is these days a very scientific term, and more they are diving into the phenomena, even in outer space. Yeah? But I'm looking at biological plasma, how it breathes through you. So this level of a life force that moves through all of you, I'm going to explain to you something, how profound this is through an anecdote, that this life force really decides if you're alive or you're dead. Okay? So one day there was an equine osteopath. In America, he was treating horses, osteopathy for horses. And he was charged with something by the vet community. They suspected him that he was a regular vet performing normal veterinary medicine. So they took him to court and he could go to jail. And he had to show on the spot that he was not doing normal vet medicine, okay? So what did he do? He grabbed a horse. This horse was dead for at least 30 minutes, lay dead on the ground, and he invited 3 normal vets, animal doctors in the room, and they just had to confirm one thing, that this horse is dead and there's nothing more to do about it. So all 3 of them, they confirmed this horse is dead. Okay? This osteopath walked up to the horse. He grabbed the 7th cervical neck vertebra, pulled it back in alignment, and the horse got up as if nothing happened. How do you explain that? I cannot lay dead here on the floor, have 3 doctors examine me, confirm that I'm dead, and then get up as if nothing happened. It's not possible. But what did this osteopath know? And first of all, he won the case straight up in that moment. All he needed to do was put his hand on the horse and feel as if his plasma respiratory mechanism was still breathing. What? Yes, a breathing mechanism that happens through the cells, through all your membranes, through all your tissues. And it's something different than your lungs and your heart pumping. But this is the reason why the osteopath knew this horse wasn't dead. And then it was just science for him. The 7th cervical neck vertebra, if you put it back into alignment, the nervous system goes back online and nothing is wrong. But this is the miracle, ladies and gentlemen. This could have been one of the most amazing scientific discoveries. The only thing is, you can't RCT 30 dead horses in a row and reproduce the same result. So we're dealing here with perceptual studies, something that can only be perceived but not measured. We can see a sunset with the colors, but we cannot measure the light. You can live on prana, and people can say you live on light. But what kind of light is this? My statement is, it's plasma light, and you are all entraining the cellular memory to become more of a plasma activated being. Does that make sense? Good. So this is what plasma can do for you. And this is what I hope you can all confirm with me, especially when you are on the pranic path for a while. Something in you creates more space for prana to come in. When you're dealing, for instance, with a memory that is installed in your cells, the belief that you need food to live, whether that feeling of hunger comes from you or your ancestors, that is plasma. But when you move through it, and when it's relieved out of the plasma, then suddenly you have new energy, correct? That is prana coming in. Or at least, I have to draw conclusions here because it's a tricky field. You can see it, you can palpate it, you can perceive it, but you cannot measure it. But this is also where the excitement starts. Can you show my last slide? So, in my quantum osteopathy, I look at every human being as a plasma force field. Different force fields of no, not energy, because plasma is the 4th state of matter. We have solid, we have liquid, like water, or gas, oxygen. But the 4th state is plasma. So it is a matter, and it is 99% of the universe. So actually, most of the universe is material. That's strange because most of us now accepted the belief everything is energy. But I see now that we feel energy of things, of everything, of plasma. Everything can have energy. But you are one flowing material being, and plasma makes things very concrete, very real. And if it is something alive, it really wants to give us the truth about things. So sessions with me are sometimes a bit confronting because I unravel certain patterns that have been present all your life, because the plasma created you before you were born in the womb. All these fluids in your embryological phase have been shaping you, forming you, and all the information was already there, as if it already knew what you were going to do in this life with these patterns. The confronting conclusion with plasma is that we cannot solve our own riddles so easily. We can only shift the density of it. This is another thing where shows when you go pranic, you're more than okay. When you go eating again, the same problems arise. So the problems are installed in the plasma. But let's have a look at that picture over there. Oh, and it's gone. So there are 9 plasma force fields that shaped the human existence. And maybe you can read the words below each plasma force field. This is just a simple schematic. It is much more complex after this, but everything about you in your anatomy has been created. This is a rough scheme of an overview that shows how all the juices work in the body, right? So you recognize the colors. It's like the same colors of the chakras or the rainbow. It's the same because all of nature, every body recognizes color and sound. So this is much more of a sound field compared to a light field, okay? Another difference. So on level 1, for instance, we have the creation of everything that provides a foundation in the hip region, the kidneys, the ovaries, the womb, bladder, rectum, and all the collagen fibers in your body. On this level, we find inflammation as a dysfunction. Let's go to level 4, it's green. All the juices that circulate in your system. We know the blood, arterial, and venous. We know the lymph. And in the plasma, this all means something. So for instance, lymph stands for successful emotional processing, the ability to do that. Maybe you know yourself or some people in your life that have unsuccessful emotional processing. They always complain or have a grudge or cannot leave behind their past. That was me before pranic living. So as your body during pranic living is changing, you know, I came in like this, more of my chest, my shoulders forward, my thorax a little bit contracted, my hips a little bit more open, feet wide, like this. And I had this lymphatic congestion happening in my tummy that got my posture into this, right? Now to pranic living, it opened up more efficient circulation, and I literally have a completely different posture. It's nature's best medicine, pranic living. So how to activate the body's own medicine is the quest of plasma. And with pranic living, you can fast track it. But where do we find the natural state, huh? Because plasma wants to bring you close to the state of a child, to be joyous. Plasma wouldn't be saying, go meditate for that. go chant some mantras for that, do yoga for this. It is much more, it wants to give you what is your birthright, period. And then subjects like health become irrelevant. Just like a child, children like to eat candy. We know it's not really healthy, but that's all they like to eat. They have so much energy, they don't think about the things as adults that we grew up with. So how to get back to that state that is adaptable? Vital adaptation is what plasma is all about. And so it doesn't matter what you eat or in what environment you live in, there's always vital adaptation. But when you lose your plasma activation, then you can experience issues, existential issues. And all those levels you've seen there are also connected to existential fears that we have. Who knows the fear of abandonment? Right? Yeah. Abandonment. The fear of overwhelming, of to be overwhelmed. Yeah. The fear of never-ending pain. If you've had chronic pain in your life, you know it. The fear of losing control, of course, and the fear of disappointment, for instance. I say these fears, they are general, but they have many layers to them. And so when I treat people, I don't look at you as an emotional body, because the emotions that you feel right now are just a result of an existential problem. I look at you from the existential perspective. What is your soul struggling with right now? The plasma wants to help you embed, incarnate, integrate your soul fully present here, materially, tangibly, real. And what is blocking that? Existential question marks here. That doesn't, so it doesn't matter what you think. Quality of thoughts, quality of emotions. Because if that is an issue, I can just have a positive affirmation and repeat it to myself over and over again. And I just think positively over and over again. And I produce meditation, positive colors and vibes and keep it high all the time. There's so much work for you to do out there in the world. But plasma wants to take all the work away from you. And to find the answers behind these existential question marks is, I believe, the biggest journey we still have ahead of us. Because otherwise, I can just sell you a formula and I want you to buy my book. But I would like to get people in a tangible, palpative experience with your own biology that you can really feel. It speaks a certain language without words, but with these existential, an existential language. So what is a good translation tool? I believe also that the science that we have and where it's heading will not lead us there, because it's always generalized outside of us. When you look at a subject like osteopathy, where these practitioners know exactly how to feel differences in your body between how does a nerve feel, or a blood vessel, or this cellular breathing mechanism. That's it. So what time do we have now? How many minutes do I have left? 3 minutes left? 30. Oh, 30. Okay, good. Good. Half.
Yeah, Djai, we have probably maybe 15 to 20 more minutes and then some questions.
Yes.
But it's your timeline. So you present for
I'll
as
take
long
10
as
minutes for questions, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But there's, as you can imagine, I can talk for hours on this, and there's so much for us to explore. Okay, so I wanted to give one demonstration. Who wants to be a volunteer? Just keep your hands up. Okay, what I told about myself, this lymphatic congestion that I have, shoulders forward, hips open like this, I had it from my ancestral lines, where in my maternal line, they struggled a lot with lymphatic issues. When you come a volunteer, I'm going to do a small analysis on you like this. Is that okay? So raise your hand again.
And I'm just going to remind you to speak slowly again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Come, dear. I forgot your name. Yes, yellow. Yeah, you. Come here. Very brave. Welcome.
This is Deva. Welcome, Deva.
Beautiful dress she has. Welcome. So, I know she is doing prana. Yeah. Level 3, just like me. So in her body, I can already see a lot of improvement. Yeah? But what does plasma has in mind for her as a next step? Okay. So there's still a lot around her tummy that needs to loosen up for her chest to elevate. And so more energy can flow to her thyroid. In her line, wherever it comes from, could have been from her mother's side, there are some thyroid issues. And so, yes, okay, so that's funny. It's already listening, that's great. What is the best intention we can always have is this sentence, if we use words, okay? May all life force in me centripetally self-organize back to harmony. Okay? So there's something happening in her gut right here. And it's mostly happening on level 5 that you should have seen there on the slide. And this is where we humans are a liquid crystal. There's a lot of connective tissue everywhere, actually. Good. And this makes us a memory database. Plasma gives us this jelly substance, right? Who heard we are 70% water? Who heard we are 95% water? We are 95% hydrogen atoms. And the space in between these atoms is plasma. These hydrogen atoms, they organize in a specific way. And right here, they want to find more optimal self-organization. But that's why I say your thyroid, because on level 5, over there, you see, the blue color, it needs that organization from the thyroid to have that direction. Now, this may be a little bit advanced of information. Did it make sense? Oh, you have translation.
Yeah, she has her cell phone and earphones in for translation. I don't know. It's difficult.
Okay, no worries. Could everyone observe here a little bit what I meant? Like when you look posturally, yeah? Because I'm talking about here on this level, we're talking about a whole spectrum of tissue that wants to self-organize and upright. I put here in front because I can already see it happening. And when the life forces centripetally self-organize efficiently, maybe in 10 days from now, you will already see it change more because we bring it more conscious to it. Her diaphragms would also mean would lift up more. And this would happen by itself. So the thyroid is sort of pulling everything like this. And that means that in her tummy, the connective tissue with the lymph is more properly self-organized. Yeah? This is what pranic living can do for her, but plasma has in mind for her in her journey. Does that make sense? Yeah? Thank you. Thank you. You can sit down. Yeah. Okay, so shall we do questions?
Yes, we can switch to questions if you
Yeah.
like. So just checking our online questions here. Sure. Sorry, I was sharing my screen. Right. Is there a question from the audience that we want? We go, okay. Yeah. You go. This is Asghar.
So you were talking about these existential problems that matter more than emotional and thought. So can you give an example of what could these existential problems be?
I think we all know that we have so many patterns in us. And these patterns, they rule our lives. And you have tried so many things to unravel the patterns in your life or to do things differently in your life so a pattern wouldn't repeat, but then it comes back in a different way. And it's always like that. This means that the emotions connected to a pattern will also come back in a different way. Because life can sometimes be like a ladder. You are on this level, you feel very heavy, you have a pattern. You change level, you bring the same pattern with you, and then you feel the same pattern, but it comes in different phases. And so how can we unravel this existential pattern that is programmed in us to take out? This you know, and there are many books you can read on it, and there are many gurus who sell their methods to get it out of you, but I've never seen anyone do it successfully, not even me. So I'm not selling you a formula here, but I know this is the truth. And there is one truth that can set us free, I believe, but it's very confronting. And sometimes I'm a bit afraid if that truth, if we can really handle it. I'm not sure if it's true. The plasma wants to see, help me see the ultimate truth. I think this is going to be the final chapter of the lecture then. Let me share it. Okay. One day, I was treating in France. I have many practices all around Europe. And in France, I have a practice. And a lady was on my table. she had a Lyme-induced nervous system dysfunction for 10 years. That meant for 10 years, she couldn't sleep longer than 10 minutes. Can you imagine the torture for her? When I felt her plasma force fields, I felt I couldn't do anything. Nothing had any acceptance of improvement. So then I asked, who can help her? And I heard a voice saying, the Maker. And then I asked, who is the Maker? And then I heard a voice saying, Jesus. Jesus Christ. In that moment, the whole cellular makeup changed beyond what I've ever felt. And that woman in that session slept for 45 minutes. I've not seen her since. I cannot confirm if it changed her life, but it did indeed changed mine. Because the existential, this could mean that the existential answer to all of our questions, most of our existential questions, has a lot to do with Jesus Christ. And just like a hive of bees would be sitting here, when the queen bee enters, every bee knows who to work for, correct? There's no bee thinking, I'm going to start on my own over here. So what if Jesus Christ is the ultimate queen bee we are waiting for? And that is something we all have to feel in our hearts. But it has changed my work. And because it changes the plasma to an extent that is beyond my control. And it's deeply emotional. And I hope that we can all feel that power. For now, you can visit me there in the tent to have your first activated plasma experience of 20 minutes, solar intelligence energy ready for your cells to take in. But it's always good to contemplate truths. Other questions?
Yeah, thank you, Djai. I have a couple of questions online. There's a few people who are asking the same question, so I think it's important. They want to know, they want you to repeat that sentence that you said, this is the most important sentence. It's about the organizing of the vital forces in the body.
It's the best intention you can have that will always work for you, and something will always listen. May all life forces in me centripetally self-organize back to harmony. Centripetally means back to a center instead of centrifugally away from center. Plasma is about negentropy. That is the opposite of entropy. Entropy means chaos. Negentropy means away from chaos toward order. So what are we? Are we beings of chaos? Or are we beings of order?
So for those of you online, someone in the audience here is asking if we can all repeat this sentence together. And I let Djai answer that question.
May all life force in me centripetally self-organize back to harmony. So when you feel a painful part in your body, you can ask or have this intention projected. The plasma knows what to do. It is much more intelligent than you because it created you. And that's the difference between prana and plasma. Prana can raise you into the world. Follow the wind. Follow your bliss. Follow the light. Follow whatever inspires you. The plasma is, don't forget the starting point. You come from the water. I created you. What is this creation about? How do you feel in your existence? How can we solve this existential pain that manifests, this knee pain? This, why is it there? Maybe it comes from here. Where is the chain of events? And where did that pattern started that got me here with this guy who hit me in the face? Something like that. Algorithms.
Djai, we have a couple of more questions. So I have one here. Yes.
Thank you. Well, I've written a few sentences and build on top of that. I have one question, which is like plasma wants to bring you close to the state of a child, to be joyous. Vital adaptation is what plasma is all about. And then plasma activation. And I was wondering some practical, down-to-earth tips that I can integrate these 10 days, how to activate my plasma.
Mm.
And I also have folks online asking what they can do if they can't access you personally.
Yeah.
So it's the same, similar question.
School of Frequency, Instagram, schooloffrequency.com, my website. So we all know people who are sun gazing. This is a plasma activation. When there is thunderstorm in the sky, it is plasma activating all life underneath it. Stand outside in the rain during a thunderstorm, a form of plasma activation. The best sustainable plasma activation? Pranic living. Thank you. This that is sustainable, right? Prana wants to make you higher. Plasma wants to stabilize you on each level. When we're talking about integration, plasma. When we're talking about going to a level of improvement, prana, you could say, because you're more flying, right? You're going to take off. Yeah. So that's just getting ourselves back to the state of a baby. Next question.
We have about 5 more minutes left before the end of the hour, and I've got a couple more questions here.
You said it was all science-based. Do you have any sort of articles that support that the plasma is actually passing through people?
Yeah.
Do you have any sort of articles that are supportive of the claims that you make of improvements? Because I would like to see them, because I don't believe you.
Okay, good. Yeah. No, you shouldn't believe me in the name of science yet. But Dan Winter, Google him, YouTube him, a lot of material he has. There are a couple of documents I can send you on biodynamic osteopathy. This is a 40-year-old database of data where they work on the plasma organization fields of the body. Again, can we prove that these organization fields exist? Measure it? No. Palpate it? Yes. Perceive it? Yes. Everyone can do the skill that I can do. It just takes years of practice. Another resource, fourth phase of water. Gerald H. Pollock on the fourth phase of water, hydrogen atomic or molecule organization, where you can see, right? I want you to see and then believe how this water molecular structure is different than a glass of water. This is a jellyfish, H3O2. Glass of water is H2O. This is a liquid crystal. A glass of water is not really close to it, but everything is a crystal in that sense. So yes, but we can only perceive it. If you want to believe for my results, call my clients. I have a couple of interesting cases.
Thank you, Djai. I think we're going to go to our last question.
Last question.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, yeah, thanks. I wanted to ask how you perceive the plasma and how you work with it when you're treating somebody, somebody's plasma.
So, well, because we have such less time left, I could guide you as a group to join me how to feel it on yourself. But I cannot guarantee you that you can feel it straight away. Some osteopaths studied for years and they couldn't feel it eventually. But looking at you guys, I think 75% would be able to have a sense of this it's a plasma magnetic waveform that you can palpate. So looking at the time, I don't think I can help you with that induction right now, but if you all stay seated and we close down the meeting, I could do it with the group. Is that
I think that's a possibility, but I also want to make sure, I know this is a pranic event. I don't want people to be going for too long without nourishment or liquids of whatever sort they require. So how long of an event would that be?
5 minutes?
Oh, yeah, I think that's possible. Yeah, thank you. But yes, we are at the top of the hour here. So I just have one more question from someone online. They want to know if you've written any books.
Not yet.
Well, I think there's a call for that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I feel the push. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Djai.
No pressure.
So I think that that's our presentation for today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us again at Pranic World Festival. Thank you, Djai, for this super enlightening and electrifying, should I say, or what would the enlightening? I'm just going to leave with enlightening presentation. I'm really inspired. I know a lot of other people are too. Sorry, I'm walking over because those online can't actually see me. I'm a mystery. But thank you, everyone, for joining us again today, Pranic World Festival. Thank you, Djai. That was super fantastic. And I have experienced his plasma work as well with the tent here and last year as well. And I perceived it myself, what effect it was having on me. And it's amazing. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Wonderful.
Right, so now for the VIP section. How many people did we have online, by the way? No idea. Okay. So are we ready to feel